Hey guys, how you doing? It's Gavin here from Start Fresh Personal Training, and this is my shift worker series. And today's video is simply about how to transition your meals from a late shift to a night shift and how to actually fit that in. Well, if you don't know a bit about me, is that I've been a shift worker for 17 years, and I was very overweight for 10 of them until I decided enough was enough. I needed to make a change. And over the last 7 years, I've basically lost 20 kilos or 44 pounds in pounds. But what's quite unique about that is I've kept it off for over 7 years. Now, I was a shift worker throughout the whole time. My shifts got worse and better depending. I've had several different shift patterns in that time. And I've managed to basically keep everything consistent. And you might be thinking, how on earth did I do that? Well, I'm going to show you a couple of things today that's going to really help you guys do it. Now, first of all, sleeping patterns, massive. The first thing before anything, you need to kind of get some sleep, right? And the reason with that is because if you're too tired to function, all this stuff that comes afterwards is just going to be, kind of a nice to know, but not able to implement. You've got to understand that, to have willpower and motivation, you kind of need to be clear, you need to be kind of awake. And although it's difficult with shift work, especially when you transition in between shifts. So my current shift pattern is a 2-2-2, so 2 early, 2 late, 2 nights. It's probably one of the nicer ones I've worked, but you can still set yourself up for some really long days. An example of that is this morning. I was an early shift yesterday, I'm a late shift today, but I still got commitments at home. So I still got, took my young boy to school. He was up at 6:10 this morning, and I'm going to be in work till about midnight tonight. So that's quite a long day. But it doesn't really change. How this happens doesn't really change. But what I did do, I did get 8 hours sleep last night. I made sure I was in bed at 8:30. I probably had about 9 hours sleep, so 8 to 4, actually more than that, I probably had 10 hours sleep last night. So I kind of prepared myself because I know I've got a long day. And it just means going to bed a little bit earlier. And I hear what you're saying, but at night is the only time I get to relax. Well, actually, if you're not, if you're sitting here watching Netflix and TV, what's going to happen is that you're going to be distracted, and you got to understand that white light from LED TVs and iPhones and everything else essentially is like caffeine to your brain, and it interferes with your melatonin and your relaxing and everything else, and you really your brain stays active when you go to sleep. So what you need to be doing is making sure is knowing what time you get up in the morning, count back at least 8 hours and go to bed at that time. And it comes in a little bit of planning throughout the week. So that's the point number one. So let me see, it's a bit small, I appreciate that. Next one is going to be the amount of calories over a 24-hour period. Okay, so I'm going to write up just calories. Now, when you're trying to transition from one shift to the next, okay, don't get too bogged down with meal timings and things like that. Although it is quite important, what I have found personally is that I'm a big tracker of MyFitnessPal. It's an amazing tool to help you calculate your calories and stick to those calories. And that's been probably one of the cornerstones of my success over time. But doesn't matter where you're working and anything else, what I always do is track my calories between 12 and midnight, so midnight to midnight. So it doesn't matter what shift I'm on, as long as my calories for that day are basically the same. So starting from midnight, I didn't eat anything at midnight. My first meal is 6:30. I'll be home at midnight tonight. As long as my calories between my breakfast and my last meal at night are within the same, within my calorie limit, it doesn't really matter. Now, that's where it gets interesting. So when you transition from a late shift to a night shift, you're kind of all over the shop. Okay, so for arguments for me now, what's going to happen is tonight, is I'm on nights tomorrow, I'll finish work at 11, 12 o'clock. I'll try to have my last meal about 3 to 4 hours before I go to bed. That helps me sleep better because I'm not so full. And then what I do then is that in the morning, I'm going to get up early. I still take my little boy to school, and I will be up about 6:30. So I'll have a 6 hours sleep. Now, this kind of sets me up for the day because I will go back to bed during the day, and I will make sure I get at least my 8 hours. So I'll go back to bed. So I get up in the morning, I'll have breakfast as normal because that's just what I do. I have breakfast wherever that is going to be. And then I'll do some things. I'll probably have a mid-morning snack because I'm not going to go back to bed till 12 o'clock tomorrow, midday. And I'll have a mid-morning snack as what I normally do, usually something like a protein shake or Greek yogurt or whatever it is. So they're my first 2 meals in the morning. So they're obviously going to amount to a certain amount of calories. Then what's going to happen is I will try and go back to bed at midday, and I'll try and sleep for 2 to 4 hours depending on environment and everything else. Then when I wake back up at 4 o'clock again, I kind of have a breakfast meal because I want to be kind of in day mode now. So my day now will become through the night. So I will then try and have a breakfast meal again. So still it could be just an omelette, or it could be some oats, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Could have a lunch, doesn't matter. And then what I'll do then is I count 3 hours after that. So that may be, let's just say tomorrow I get up at 3 or 4 o'clock. Say I get up at 3 o'clock. My next meal will be dinner at 6, so I'll have a meal at 6. And then I'm probably have something about 10 o'clock, because what will happen is I'll go to the gym first, and then I'll have my post-workout meal after that, so it'll be 10 o'clock. Then those calories between 6 and 10 are going to equate to something, and then my FitnessPal locks over, I start tracking again. So my next meal might be about 2 o'clock, then it might be 4 o'clock, and then I go back to bed at 7 or 8 o'clock. And then obviously I'll sleep for a big bulk of the day and do it that way. So transitioning from a late to a night comes down to just, try and be as consistent as you can, and eat 3 to 4 hour intervals, and make sure those meals are healthy, and make sure they're balanced and they've got protein and complex carbohydrates and all that sort of thing. But that is how I do it. I basically make sure that my calories are on point for the whole day. Otherwise, what I used to find was I would just eat indiscriminately, and then I'd eat far too much, or wouldn't eat enough, and I'd be at my 2 o'clock dips and slumps. And this really works really well. Really, lots of reallys. So just a recap is when you finish your, so make sure you get your calories in for the 24-hour period. Then obviously it starts again, and then whatever your routine is going to be, whether you have a big lie-in the morning and stay up for the rest of the day, makes no difference. Just make sure that 24-hour period your calories are on track. That's tip number 2. And then tip number 3 is simply, it's too small on the board, appreciate it, is high protein, complex carbohydrate meals with fibre. Lots of in it. Okay, so high protein meals, or having extra protein in your diet, has hundreds and hundreds of benefits. Okay, helps you feel fuller. It helps you regenerate muscles and tissue, and especially if you're in the gym, which hopefully you should be. And then the other thing is complex carbs and fibre helps keep your blood sugars kind of stable. So when you get tired, what's going to happen is in the night and the long shifts, your leptin and ghrelin sort of have a bit of a fight, and they're your hunger hormones, and you've got to try and be careful not to sort of let them give in to them. And it's quite normal to want to crave sugary, high processed foods, and a lot of shift workers, lots of cake, lots of donuts, all the other good stuff, lots of good stuff. And you need to be having snacks that are high in complex carbohydrates and protein, because that is going to help keep your blood sugar stable. It's going to help keep you feel fuller, and it's going to hopefully diminish the chances you're going to snack on those other foods. And that is so important to do it. And when you're transitioning through, if you're like me, a bit of a snacker, I like to eat snacks as opposed to big meals. These sorts of things are brilliant. It absolutely does work. You've got to kind of find the sweet spot. This is how I do it. You may be slightly different to you, but this is how I do it. And after a lot of trial and error, 17 years or 10 years in the making, or 17 years in the making, sorry, I've refined it. Now, if you are a shift worker, I'd love to connect with you. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put something down below. Okay, I've got something called a shift worker survivor guide, if you like, and it's going to help you get through your shift pattern. There's going to be quite a few things in there. There's going to be 30 healthy snacks that I just mentioned that fit that demographic that you can have in there, essentially in the form of an ebook. There's going to be a bit more detailed video of how I actually track my day and plan my day, and a bunch of other goodies. There's an expert interview in there from a sleep expert as well to help you get the best sleep, and that's all going to be down below. Okay, you do need to pop in your email address though, and to get a copy of that ebook. But I promise that if you start implementing some of that stuff, you're going to find your shift work becomes a whole bunch easier. And not only that, you're going to be able to exercise and eat better, lose some weight, get more energy, and take some lessons, life lessons from me. I've done it, been there, and I've got a t-shirt. So that's going to be down below. Be really cool. Also, you get the opportunity to jump into my free Facebook group as well. It's a mixture of my current clients, a mixture of people who are not my clients, and there's shift workers, non-shift workers, and there's a really broad variety of people in there that can help you achieve what you want to achieve. So if you like this video, guys, please do me a favor and hit the maybe this side or this side, the subscribe button, and hit the the bell so you get notifications when I upload these. I'm going to have to do quite a few of these now. And leave a comment, that'd be awesome. Because obviously if you leave a comment I can answer for you. And yeah, just stay in touch. We've got to stick together as shift workers, and why not learn from somebody like me who's already been through and done it all. I can make your journey a little bit easier. So like I said, as always guys, start afresh. If you don't make a change today, how will tomorrow be any different? Cheers.